So you're drafting from the number 6 spot this year. The first thing that you want to do is secure a pass-catching running back. So for this strategy, we're going to be focusing on mostly getting wide receivers and running backs. We're stacking those two positions so we focus on them now and can kind of fill in the rest of it later, because most of them really aren't as important as those two main spots. So that's why I'm taking AB here, over any tight end or quarterback. We'll get to the ones where we take them later. Now, I really like my options, but I do see myself having to choose between T.Y. and Jones. I am giving the edge to Aaron Jones here just because of how high I think his ceiling is for this year, and because of his age as well. Plus, there aren't going to be as many running backs that are available later, and I want to lock up that position right away. So now we have our running backs, and Cooks is there. This guy's been a top 15 receiver for the past 3 years. I really am a huge fan of Cooks this year. I think he's going to be stepping up in the Rams offense, and this is his second year there, so he's actually going to be able to adjust a little bit and get used to what they're doing. He's not being thrown around the league like he was the last couple years when he went from the Saints, Patriots, then to the Rams. I think he's already developed some chemistry, and I expect him to be the number 1 receiver in the LA offense this year. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Alshon Jeffrey, and I'm not the biggest fan of the Eagles offense in general for this fantasy season. But what I am a fan of is having Phillip Lindsay in my flex spot. Lindsay last year was the 12th best running back in the league, and he was still splitting carries. I already liked him to have as a RB2, but as a flex starter, I'm taking him no doubt. Now that I see a tight end here who's actually pretty decent, I'm going to pull the trigger. At this point, I just see myself getting more value in the tight end spot by picking him here, instead of, reaching for a wide receiver that I may or may not like. But now after that, I do want to go with the wide receiver. So we're going to pick up Christian Kirk, who is the guy that we are reaching for a little bit. But the thing is when you don't have anyone available to you that you like, it makes the most sense just to pick up someone who you actually do want to have on your team. So normally now I would want to get a quarterback. But the thing is, I see Jared Goff kind of sitting there, and I know that he's not going to get picked this round. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a wideout. Now, the thing with Goff is he's obviously still one of the better quarterbacks in the league and better fantasy quarterbacks in the league, but he's not getting a lot of love. He had a great year last year, and people aren't respecting that. The thing is he played pretty bad in the playoffs, or just really the Super Bowl. Everyone's kind of shy about him now, and that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm more than willing to pick up Goff to have him as my quarterback 1, especially when I can get him this late in the draft. And I can always pick up another guy just in case if he doesn't work out. Now this team seems pretty good to me. The biggest hole is probably at the 3rd wide receiver position, but I still feel great about all the other positions. If you pull away with this team, you should feel pretty good going into the year. This time around, we're going to be targeting a tight end after we pick up our running back in the 1st round. So Kelce being available to us when we get our 2nd pick is fantastic. Kelce's the type of guy who is a tight end, but he's giving you wide receiver type numbers. Having a guy like Kelce on your team can really change the dynamic of what you can do. You can draft a whole lot more wide receivers or running backs, but either way, you don't have to worry about that tight end position, and you're still getting a top producer at that spot too. And now we're going to start to build up a receiving core. So Amari Cooper is going to go off the board, and after that, we're going to be trying to put on our team the best guys that are available to fill up our lineups. So Brandon Cooks, for example, we talked about him a little bit earlier. He's a guy that I want to get on my team. And I'm put into a similar situation here where I don't really like anyone who's available at the current moment. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Mike Williams. I feel great about Mike Williams. I think he could, honest to God, be a wide receiver number 1. It wouldn't surprise me if he was. And what makes everything even sweeter is that David Montgomery comes in available to me at the next spot, which is who I was debating picking between either Mike Williams or him. So now we're just looking for our flex spot. I'm a big fan of Latavius Murray this year. I think that he can pick up the role that Mark Ingram left. Now, I would normally draft someone else before I draft Goff here, but for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and pick Goff up, and we're going to take a look at the team. I really like this team, except for the gambles in Latavius Murray and Mike Williams. Now, they're not crazy big gambles considering they're our wide receiver 3 and our flex, but they still are gambles nonetheless because we don't really know what we're getting. This last strategy involves flooding at the wide receiver position. And now that Sony Michel is available in this round, I feel like I'm getting away with something here. I just used 3 draft picks in a row to lock up the wide receiver position. I already had a good running back, and now I have another good one. And I really didn't have to do too much work. And now we have Aaron Rodgers just chilling there, and I need a quarterback, so I'm going to go ahead and scoop him up. Having a high-end quarterback is really important. A lot of times, if you have the number 1 quarterback, you'll at least be in the playoffs. So people will tell you that the quarterback position doesn't really matter, and that's true when you look at the kind of people at the back half. But if you look at the people who could be competing for the top overall spot, they're pretty valuable, and they're a lot more valuable than you would think. Now all I have to do is fill out my flex and tight end. I don't really like the guys that are here at flex, so I'm just going to have to go with the best guy, and I might as well lock up a decent tight end around now. Now, this team really only has 1 hole in it, and that hole is at the flex spot, where I really don't like the idea of having Pettis as my flex, because I normally like to go running back. But at the same time, though, you at least have the number one receiver in the 49ers offense. That does it for this episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, check out our website, check out our social medias. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and please remember to draft responsibly.